The first cut is precise. A bronze blade draws a perfect line across her tongue, not deep enough to sever, just enough to scar. The metallic taste of her own blood mingles with frankincense smoke in the temple of Hathor's innermost sanctum. Memphis, 1279 BCE. What the priests did to temple virgins wasn't murder. It was the systematic harvesting of their voices, their memories, their very ability to dream. These young priestesses, chosen for their perfect pitch and ability to channel divine song, were transformed into something the papyri called Kheru-Khet, the silenced vessels. They still lived. They still served. But the sacred sistrum they once shook in ecstasy now hung heavy in hands that could no longer remember why music mattered. The ritual scarring of the tongue was just the beginning, a covenant sealed in blood that prepared them for the true violation. The extraction of their their vital essence, drop by drop, prayer by prayer. Why did girls who entered the temple singing hymns of joy emerge months later as hollow-eyed women who flinched at the sound of their own names? And what was the true purpose of the obsidian vessels found sealed in their quarters, each one filled with a strange, iridescent liquid that sang when exposed to moonlight? They weren't killed. They were emptied. If these dark histories fascinate you, subscribe and hit the bell for more. Drop a comment below. What other hidden temple practices should we uncover? And now, let us descend deeper into the shadow of the pillars. The procession begins at dawn, but unlike the public festivals, no crowds line the avenue. These girls, barely past their first blood, walk barefoot on stones still cold from the desert night. Their families believe they've been honored, selected for the highest service to Hathor, goddess of music, dance, and fertility. They've seen their daughters off with tears of pride. The selection process itself is telling. The priests don't choose the prettiest or the wealthiest. They choose the ones who dream vividly. During the testing week, candidates sleep in the temple while priest-physicians monitor their rest. They're looking for rapid eye movement, for sleep talking, for the girls who wake gasping from visions they can barely describe. These are the ones with what the priests call loose ka, souls that travel freely between waking and sleeping, life and death. These are the ones whose essence can be harvested without killing the body. The chosen ones are told they've been blessed. Their dreams, they're assured, have marked them as beloved of Hathor. They will serve in the goddess's most intimate chambers, learning songs that no common person could ever hear. None of them suspect that their dreams are not a blessing. They're the very thing the priests plan to steal. The first month seems like paradise. The girls are bathed in milk and honey, their skin massaged with precious oils from punt. They're taught the secret hymns, melodies so complex and beautiful that they bring tears of joy. They feast on pomegranates and figs, wine sweetened with dates. They laugh together in the dormitories, these chosen sisters bonding over their shared fortune. But the diet is deliberate. Every meal contains trace amounts of blue lotus extract, mandrake root, and bitter seeds from the Persea tree. The combination doesn't poison, it loosens. It creates gaps between the body and the soul, spaces that shouldn't exist in a living person. The girls begin to experience strange symptoms. They see their own bodies from above while sleeping. They hear their thoughts echoing as if spoken by someone else. Their dreams become so vivid they can't distinguish them from waking life. When they report these experiences to the priests, they're told this is divine communion, Hathor speaking through them. They're encouraged to lean into the dissociation, to let themselves float free from their flesh. By the end of the first month, the girls are psychologically primed. Their sense of self has been systematically fragmented. They're ready for the first extraction. It happens during the new moon when the temple is at its darkest. The girls are led one by one into a circular chamber with no windows, lit only by oil lamps burning with a strange purple flame. The color achieved by adding powdered scarab shells to the oil. In the center sits an obsidian chair, its surface polished to mirror blackness. The girl is seated, her wrists and ankles secured with silk cords, gentle restraints they're told to keep them safe during the divine visitation. The high priest enters wearing the mask of silence, a golden face with no mouth, only eyes. He carries a collection of thin, hollow reeds made from silver and a series of those obsidian vessels, each one inscribed with hieroglyphs that seem to shift in the purple light. The ritual begins with the tongue cutting, just a small incision, enough to draw blood that's collected in the first vessel. Then comes the true horror. The priest inserts the silver reeds into the girl's nostrils, thin enough to reach the spaces behind the eyes, the channels ancient Egyptians believed connected directly to the seat of consciousness. Through these reeds, using a technique that combines pressure, sound vibration, and herbal vapors, they begin to extract something. The girls describe it as feeling their thoughts being pulled like thread from a spindle, their memories unraveling and flowing out through the silver tubes. The process takes hours. By dawn, the girl is conscious but changed. She remembers her name, her basic functions, but something essential is missing. The memories of joy, of love, of connection, they're gone, captured in those obsidian vessels that now glow faintly with an inner light. After the first extraction, the girls are never the same. They continue their temple duties, but mechanically. They sing the hymns, but the music is empty, technical perfection without soul. They dance, but their movements are those of marionettes, precise but lifeless. The priests tell them this is purification, that they've been cleansed of earthly attachments to better serve the goddess. But the girls know something has been taken. They can feel the hollow spaces where their essence used to be. The extractions continue once each month. Each time more is taken. The ability to feel fear goes next, necessary, the priests say, to face the goddess without trembling. Then goes anger, passion, hope. Layer by layer, emotion by emotion, the girls are hollowed out. By the 6th month, they're perfect vessels, living bodies with just enough consciousness to perform their duties but nothing more. They don't resist because they can't remember what resistance feels like. They don't cry because tears require sadness, and sadness has been bottled and sealed away. But the priests make one critical error. They take everything except physical pain. They need the girls to feel their bodies, to know when to eat, when to rest. And in that sensation, in that single remaining connection to feeling, a spark of awareness remains. One girl, Nefertiti, not the queen, but a merchant's daughter who shared her name, discovers something. During her duties cleaning the extraction chamber, she accidentally breaks one of the obsidian vessels. The liquid that spills out isn't liquid at all. It's light, condensed memory made visible. When it touches her skin, she experiences a flood of sensation, not her memories, but those of another girl, a predecessor. She feels joy she'd forgotten existed, love she didn't know was possible, fear that makes her whole body shake with its intensity. She realizes what the priests have done. They haven't destroyed what they've taken, they've stored it. But why? The answer comes when she follows a priest into a chamber she's never seen before, a room where the high priests gather for their most secret rituals. There, she watches in horror as they consume the contents of the vessels, drinking the extracted essence like wine. The priests aren't just removing the girl's humanity, they're consuming it. Each swallow grants them the vitality, the dreams, the passionate life force of youth. It's the source of their longevity, their power, their ability to claim direct communication with the gods. They're parasites feeding on distilled human experience. Modern archaeology provides disturbing support for these accounts. In 1952, excavations near Memphis uncovered a cache of obsidian vessels, initially dismissed as canopic jars. But these vessels contained no organs. Chemical analysis revealed traces of unusual compounds, neurotransmitter analogs, hormones associated with memory and emotion, proteins found only in cerebrospinal fluid. The inscriptions on these vessels, when finally translated, didn't name organs but experiences. First joy of flowering, mother's embrace remembered, the dream of flying. Each vessel was a captured moment of human consciousness. More disturbing still were the mummies found in the same complex, young women perfectly preserved with no obvious cause of death. Brain scans revealed something unprecedented. Massive scarring in regions associated with memory and emotion, as if something had been systematically extracted through the nasal passages over extended periods. The practice of the Kheru-Khet allegedly ended when one extraction went wrong. A girl named Amenemheb, stronger-willed than the rest, managed to reverse the flow during her final extraction. Instead of losing her remaining essence, she pulled back not just her own stolen memories, but fragments from every girl who'd been harvested before her. The flood of collective experience, hundreds of stolen lives pouring into one mind, drove her into a prophetic frenzy. She spoke in voices not her own, revealed secrets the priests thought buried, named every girl who'd been hollowed out and discarded. The scandal shook the temple hierarchy. The practice was abandoned, the chambers sealed, the remaining vessels destroyed, or so the official records claim. But in certain bloodlines of Egyptian priests, there persisted an unusual longevity, a vitality that lasted well beyond natural years. They had learned that immortality didn't require drinking from magical springs or seeking divine favor. It required only the systematic theft of life from those too young and trusting to resist, a vampirism not of blood, but of the very essence of human experience itself. The Kheru-Khet were never killed. Death would have been a mercy. Instead, they lived on as empty vessels, walking reminders that there are fates far worse than death. There is the complete theft of everything that makes life worth living. What the priests did wasn't murder. It was soul cannibalism, performed on the living, leaving bodies that breathed but spirits that had been devoured. Subscribe if this dark history disturbed you as much as it did me. Comment below, have you heard of similar practices in other ancient cultures? And remember, the stone chambers may be sealed, but the obsidian vessels, some say they were never all found.